If you've been feeling triggered, then I am going to help you understand how you can use that trigger to your advantage in order to supercharge your life. Now, whenever we are triggered, it's obviously super uncomfortable. It can cause us a lot of emotional pain, anger, lots of tears, sleepless nights. All of these different emotions can really rage up on us. And I'm not suggesting that we repress our emotions, but what I'm going to show you is how we can actually move through them and trust that the trigger is here to teach us something important so we can get value from it and use it to our advantage. So if you're looking to understand how you can use your triggers to your advantage, then you are in the right place. If you're coming back again, it is so good to have you back. I am so pleased to hear that the content is actually helping you and that you're enjoying what I put out here. If this is your first time here, it is so good to have you. Welcome, welcome. There is so much more content here for you to consume. If you want to get alerted whenever I put new content out, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you're enjoying any particular piece of content or this piece of content, don't forget to hit like as well. My name is Gemma Lonsdale and I am here to teach you all how to live your most authentic, empowered and faith-filled lives. Now, faith looks different to everybody. That might be faith in God, faith in the universal power, or simply faith in you as a person, okay? Today we want to look at triggers. The reason why I wanted to look at this today is because I had a message a few days ago from Liz. Liz, hello. I'm not going to use your full name, but if you feel, if you want to comment or anything like that, then you are welcome to do so. So Liz sent me in a question and she has said, I've had a few private sessions with you. I love your content. Thank you. You made a YouTube recently which suggested viewer questions. I keep getting triggered by men that I date. No matter how much I do on myself, how much work I do on myself, it always ends up in the same place. I feel like I'm not enough. Often it brings me to tears. How can this be helping me? So first of all, Liz, thank you very much for sending that question in. It's something that all of us resonate with on some level, whether it's dating and relationships or in the workplace or the connection that we have with our parents. There are so many different things that can happen in our external world that can trigger us in a way. And we all have went through that. I specifically have went through a lot of it. I've had to work through the triggers and understand their placement in my life, and it's been working through all of that and working with Chester as well that sits with me in spirit. It's been working through all of that has helped me really understand why they're here in our life and what they're here to show us and how we can use them to our advantage. So I want to take you through a couple of different perceptions and different things to consider whenever you're experiencing a moment of being triggered in your life. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about here is that triggers aren't your enemies. Triggers are invitations, really. They're invitations to self-reflect. They're invitations to contemplate. They're invitations for you to understand yourself a little better. So whenever we are going about our lives trying to be our best selves, we are often laden down with different traumas and wounds from the past, things that we have experienced in childhood. And although you might have things from childhood under a certain age where you can't remember them, those things are still remembered by your spirit. Even if you have a memory from when you were 12 years old that you have forgotten about, your spirit is still remembering that. So it's in your energetic body, okay? So it's all still there and it's repressed down. Now, if you can imagine, we're trying to go through life being our best version, and our best version is being held down like a weight with all of these different traumas and things that we haven't cleared out. So whenever we're actually triggered by something, and whenever I talk about a trigger, I mean where it's really causing an adverse reaction with you, or a very strong emotional response, whether it's bringing up anger, frustration, pain, making you feel like you're not worthy. All of these different things are triggering you for a reason. It's the universe's way, God's way of highlighting the things that you need to heal, okay? If you were going through life and you were unaware that they were there, all they're going to be doing is holding you back. If you can think of every one that you unhook and heal and deal with, that is making you feel lighter and you're getting closer to your potential best self. So it's a really important tool in the first instance when it comes to being self-aware and knowing what needs to be healed, because otherwise we'd probably be repressing it and just continuing on through life without knowing that it's there. Obviously in Liz's situation here, the pattern is repeating and she keeps ending up in the same pattern, and I know that some of you will have been in this situation before. I know I certainly have, where the same thing keeps happening over and over again. Whenever we are experiencing that, it's not a punishment. What is actually happening in that moment is the pattern is repeating because you can only sustain so much pain before you want to take the change. The pattern is repeating because the wound isn't healed. So until you take the action that's required in order to heal that wound, it's going to keep coming up again. It's basically telling you there's something else that's been missed here. There's something else that you need to dig a little bit deeper on. Now, that doesn't mean that you do the work once and then that's it healed. We heal over a prolonged period of time normally. So it often takes repeated action. If you can think of the layers of an onion, whenever you're peeling an onion, you peel back, you peel the skin off and you've got the onion there. If you chop the onion in half, you'll see that it has all of these different layers within there. So whenever we're healing, it's often a case of there's one layer that's given to us at one particular time. Okay, so whenever we are being put back in that cycle and the pain is happening again, we're basically having the opportunity to just go to that next layer. So it's not a punishment, but it is helping you heal more fully. Another great thing about triggers is that they help you see where your power is leaking. So in the case of Liz, this is going to be applicable for any situation. It doesn't matter if it's romance, work, life drama. Whenever we need validation from another person in order to feel good about ourselves, or we're depending on that in order to feel good about ourselves, that also means that whenever that validation is gone and that person leaves or rejects us or does something that isn't favourable, we are going to crumble. Okay, because it's not a sustainable model for validation. This goes for the same whenever you're on social media as well and you're posting things for likes, or you need the pat on the back from your boss, or you need your parents' acceptance. Like, that's a big one that I come across a lot, where we're needing our parents' acceptance in order for us to feel of value as a person. Whenever we are relying on another person to give us that, and it doesn't matter whether it's your partner, your parent, the guy that you've been obsessing about that you met on Tinder and he didn't want to see you again, it really doesn't matter. The same thing is that you need to be able to learn how to validate yourself in order to provide that energy and that stable energy for just you. So whenever you are noticing or becoming aware of those behaviors of needing the validation or acceptance from another person in order to feel good about yourself, or you notice the adverse emotional reaction that you have whenever someone takes their power away or takes their validation away from you, then that is your sign to know that you need to focus on validating yourself and learning how to do that. A trigger is also a great way to actually highlight where you are now versus where you want to be. So the version of you today versus who you want to be. Now, in Liz's situation here, obviously, yes, this is about romance. You can apply this to any area of your life that is relevant. But for Liz, what's happening is she is having this experience where she wants to be in a loving relationship. She wants to have a partner. She wants to probably be treated like the queen that she feels that she is. But what is actually happening here is the cycle of maybe being discarded, ghosted, treated poorly. Maybe she's always picked second, or other girls are being picked, or other women are being picked over her. So when we're finding ourselves in that situation, what is actually happening is they're acting as a mirror to mirror back to us what we're lacking within ourselves. So whenever you seek outside of you, you're supposed to be able to satisfy that need from within. So until you have actually healed the wound that you needed to heal, that mirror is going to be held up to you by various different people and situations until you learn to actually rectify that within yourself. So in these situations, well, I'll use Liz's for an example. So in Liz's situation, this might be trying to teach her that she's searching for love externally when actually she needs to learn how to love herself more, because the love externally isn't going to satisfy that need for self-love, because again, she's going to be relying on the validation of another person. Another example could be that she is accepting bad behaviour, maybe accepting poor treatment and accepting less than what she really deserves. Okay, so it's trying to reflect back to her, are you sure that this is what you want? Or do you want to demand better? Do you want to set the bar a little bit higher? And it could also be even highlighting that her self-worth isn't where it needs to be. So in this situation, and I want to really emphasize this point, because I know that some of you will be sitting there thinking, I do love myself. My self-worth isn't a concern, and I don't know what else it would be trying to teach me, because I do all of these things and I feel amazing and I know that I'm worth it. We often feel like we're in a better place than what we are, but consider this. Healing is a constant thing. We're constantly evolving and constantly healing repressed traumas and bringing old wounds up to the surface that need our attention. So where we are right now is the best place that we can possibly be consciously, but it doesn't mean that there isn't more healing that needs to be done. It just means that you're not fully aware of the work that needs to be done. So there's a lot more under the surface. When it's time for you to heal it, and whenever you're in the right place or you've experienced enough pain and discomfort in order to take action to change your situation, the universe will bring things up to the surface and more things will become apparent. Typically, whenever you are starting to experience the mirror technique, the first thing is to become aware that it is teaching you something. It is here to try and help you and not hinder you in life. Once you start to realize that, everything will change very, very quickly from there. So what I'd really encourage you to do is to use a journal prompt. Whenever you do start to notice these triggers coming into your life and you can feel the emotion rise up, or maybe you want to start reflecting on something from the past, or if there's a life challenge or a repeating pattern situation in your life that you feel you would really like to deal with, just ask yourself or use this as a journal prompt, and it's simply the question of, what is this situation trying to teach me? And it's really giving you the opportunity to evaluate back on cycles and repeating patterns that you've experienced. If there's anything specifically trauma-wise that you think could be connected to this, and also think about what you need to do in order to help nourish yourself better. That could be learning more about self-love, and that is a whole challenge in itself, because a lot of us think that we love ourselves, but there's so much more that we could be doing in order to love ourselves. It could be around your self-worth and learning how to value yourself more. And again, sometimes it's about embarking on a journey of learning how to do that for ourselves. But the triggers are there for a purpose. And if we're able to really embrace them, we can completely transform our world. And although we might see things changing very quickly, even just the realization that it is here to teach us something, that could be transformational in itself and be a big step forward. But also be kind to yourself, and don't expect that you will do the work and in a day or in a week or in a month that's it, you're finished, you're done, you're healed. It doesn't quite work like that, unfortunately. Now, you can make really significant strides forward, but what you will often find is that you're touching on healing a little bit at a time, and the pot will be served and you'll be given a bigger spoon to take a bigger spoonful out of it and deal with it there. So it's just a repeating process. And also, this is trauma and emotional wounds that you have carried around for years, sometimes even for lifetimes. So it takes time to unpick this all apart and to rebuild something, changing behaviors, changing thought patterns. So it is a process. The thing is that the sooner you get started, the sooner you'll get to where you want to be. And the sooner you'll be sitting where you wanted to be before and thinking, gosh, haven't I done well? Where do I want to go now? I really hope that has helped you. You know, if there's other things that you want me to talk about or teach upon, drop it in the comments. I will do what I can. I'm also looking at scheduling some workshops and things coming up as well, where we can go into this in a little bit more depth. If you haven't already, I do have my book, Wisdom, Proverbs for today, and you can download that on Kindle. You can buy paperback or hardback on Amazon, so check that out. It is a cuddle in a book with lots of really comforting wisdom and information like this that will really help you to transform your view of the world and the challenges that we actually experience. Okay. Again, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, drop a comment in, share the information or share this video with somebody that you think could really benefit from it. You can follow me on other channels as well. I am on Instagram. I'm most active on TikTok. You can also come and follow me on Facebook as I've recently joined there. But it was so good to be here today, and I will be back again with more content soon.